The Fite Feather. There was nothing that Belle liked better than running round the rock phones, playing tatty with the last of the mean with her brothers and sisters and pals, or chasing after the rottens, when all the rocks was lifted. You had to have a good aim if you tried to pelt them with steens. Her oldest brother was a dab hand at hitting recht in the snoot. But the last couple of weeks things had gone agly. For when she'd gone down to the village to join in with the skipping, nobody had cried her name. On the mountain stands a lady, who she is I do not know. All she wants is gold and silver, all she needs is a fine young man. So calling in Mary as I go out to play. Roon and roon they ca'd the twa ropes, faster, lachen and singing a wee rhyme. But when Belle stood up to take her turn, all the queens had ignored her. Nobody paid any attention when she dachled at the rope dory. She stood there feeling daft and fair bamboozled. Why was Aberdeen, even her best friend Ugly, acting as though she wasn't even there? It had been the same the other day when they were playing biddies. She'd lined up with her steen in her hand, but somewhere or another she never managed to get to the front of the line. She just had to watch as other queens teen their turn, throwing their steenie onto the recht number and loping up to the hoosie and back down the chalk-drawn biddy. After dawn, Belle had a thought to herself. Maybe if she took a pioke of granny suckers and a handful of Carol Dodies, Uggy and the rest of them might play with her. But nobody wanted a sweetie. And when she suggested they could see if I was able to knock the head off a Carol Dodie, Uggy said, "We dinna want to play such a silly game anew." Belle had runkled her shoulders and pretended she didn't care a dite nor doken what Uggy had said. But at last she grat herself to sleep. She wondered if maybe the queens had Tina Nell well at her, 'cause her brothers had been so course to wee Mary. Mary might be wee, but she was a real tomboy, and she often tagged along with the loons. A day, Mary had been following them about like a wee coffee following its mother, and her brothers had gotten scunnert with her. So they got down to the muckle fir tree by the dawn, and told Mary they could climb to the very top. They tormented her and laughed at her, saying she would be oor muckle a koer to climb it hersel. But dame fear, Mary started to climb and climb and climb. The loons were real impressed, but a bit feared and all, for Mary had gone wheel up a tree, a lot farther than any of them had ever been, and knew she was stuck. But rather than trying to give her a hand, they skedaddled and left the poor queen hanging on for all she was worth. Belle didn't ken full long poor Mary was stranded up the tree, nor fat told her mother far she was. But Belle's mother had a word or twa to say about the whole affair that night, afore the loons were bedded boss. Belle thought to herself that maybe Mary's mother should get a telling off as well. For when she come upon the poor queen, her mother didn't give her any sympathy. She just shouted up a tree, "If monkeys'll climb up, then the man climb down," and get a one left at her own devices. The rest of the queens had been fair raging at Belle's brother for days after dawn, but she could hardly believe that was the reason for nae letting her join in their games. She hadn't had anything to do with her ill trick at carry on. The morning after the Carol Dodie fiasco, she'd gotten some good news. Her father would be home that nest. He'd been awa for nigh on a week with a travelling mull. They'd been doing a thrash to a puckle farmers wa up in the Howe. It was our far to come home ilka nest. Belle missed her father. He had a story to tell that would cheer her up when she felt doofy. She wished the war was by and all the men folk could come home. Then there would be more folk to do the thrashing and her feather wouldn't be so often a war. But there was no sign of the war finishing of no. Well, Belle wasn't disappointed. Her feather was his usual cheery sail, and he had them all laughing at his stories about his adventures. He told them about the most awful job they had rugging the mill out of a wheat bark when it had tumbled off the road going over a brig. He told them about a grippy farmer that had got them work even it was so windy that calf was blown away. "Hod gone," said the farmer. "Better to tie a penny a straw than a saxpenny a dog." But Belle's favourite story was when Feather told them about the surprise he found in the teapot. He'd gained to mask a cup of tea, but when he copped out all tea leaves, out popped a roll of bogey roll. "Ach," said Davy, "I wouldn't for my bogey roll had gone till, and fit why the tea tasted queer. You've answered both fairly at each joke. Good lad, gaze o'er my bogey roll." Saying he loaded up his pipe to have a smoke with his cup of tea. Belle got a bit worried when her father said he'd had to go to the doctor. A yavin had catched in his thrapple and he couldn't shift it. But it was nothing muddle to worry about, he said. No, I just got a suppy of pink stuff. Aye, pink mine. And it fair did the trick. Took a couple days when I wasn't feeling overweel. Aye, in fact, I was spewing files. He got a row for mither for using sick language. But Belle and her brothers and sisters were laughing. And he get on, each just after I'd emptied my way. Charlie, he was driving them all that day, says, "Ach, Jock, dinna worry, men. We'll soon be at all Millie's. And we'll hae a hunt in the meal girnel, and nae doubt we'll fa in with his bottle of whisky. That'll wash your ma out." The whole family laughed and laughed at her father's tales. Belle had sick fun, she forgot all about her troubles, and she had a recht soon sleep for the first time in weeks. Next morning, she rose afore the leave and creeped down the stair, so as not to walk on anybody. But just as she was going to open the kitchen door, she heard her mother's word. She sounded real all knitted, and Belle wondered if it had annoyed her. Nae doubt he knew her brothers had been up to some devilment. Belle keep it quiet, so she could fin out fit brother, so she could torment him later on. But it wasn't only her brothers that her mother was riled about. "I'm sure it's hard doing the road, Jock. She's been giving me queer looks for weeks now, and she'll hardly tak me on if we're renting another at the shops. I hinna done onything to gar her to Carnell well at me. It maun be her, I'm sure o't. I thought she would have kent better. I'm fair sconnered about it all." "I ken that, Quine, but dinna fash yourself. Think on't is nothing more than a wee fite feather in a brown envelope. It canna do ony harm. You ken as well as I do that for ever sent on wee packages, disna ken what they're speaking about." "Nae doubt, Jock, but it fair kettles me up. You would think that abody would ken that you work in a reserved occupation. Is that nae what they cry it? An essential service. They wouldn't let you join up even though you tried." "No, Jock, I winna lie, I'm fair relieved about that. I wouldn't want you to go away to the war. But you're nae coward, and I canna stand the thought of folk thinking you man be. Ach, lass, I've told you afore, there's nae sense in minding what other folk think. As long as ye and me ken the recht o't, that's all that matters. Hold your head up and carry on the same as you've done. It's only yoursel you're harming, if you pay ony heed to sic nonsense. Now the bairns will be up afore long and there's nae point in letting on to them. You ken Bell especially 'll get gay upset about it a', and we dinna want that. They never need ken onything about the Fite Feathers. Now bung the envelope into the fire and forget a' about it. Bell was stamagast that Fitz had heard. She creeped back to her bed to think. It a' got roon in her head. She kent fine Fite Feathers meant, but fit why would onybody get into her feather? She kent he wasna coward. Nee, her muckle strong leal feather. He could aye be counted on. She kent fit why her mither was kittled up. She was feeling gay annoyed hersel. It wasna recht that folks should think all her feather and mither. They were good folk. Then all of a sudden a thought come to her. Was that fit why the other queens was cutting her out of their games? Did they think her feather was a shirker, a drop dodger, a coward? But surely no. They'd been in the same lessons as her at the squeal. They kent about the fact that the government had dealt some men folk to bide at home to do vital jobs. They must ken that her feather had been dealt to bide at home. But maybe they didn't. Well, she would tell them. But nah, she couldn't do that. For then her feather and mither would ken she'd been lugging in, and she didn't want that. Bell lay a long time reading out her thoughts. In the hinnerine, she deduced that if her mither and feather could ignore folks' ignorance, then say, gee, the lave of the queens would get fed up ignoring her afore long, if she didn't let on it bothered her. So, when her wee sister was sent to ask if she was sickening for something, Bell laughed. Na, ma recht, I'm just coming. Is there only porridge left? She shouted down the stairs. You can claw the cop, laughed back her mither.